Right, today I'm going to show you what I've done to fix our soil. When we moved into this house, nothing would grow. Would buy expensive plants, they would die within a few weeks, if not few months. We tried expensive compost, all types of compost, nothing seemed to work. Asked for suggestions, watched YouTube videos. Then I started doing this, which is basically, as you can see, I've got food scraps here and here too. So whatever's left over from the fresh vegetables and fruit goes into the ground. I've been doing this for almost a year, and the result is, well, you can't see the results now because we are in November, which means everything that was going to grow has grown. We grew tomatoes here earlier this year, and they grew pretty well actually. So because this method worked, I'm going to dig again and put these food scraps in, and they would get eaten up by the worms. I don't know if you can see any worms here. You probably can't. There's one or two maybe here. So if you have worms in your soil, that's a good sign. It means your soil is healthy, it'll be fertile. Last time when I dug quite deep, and so you'd have and the reason I dug deep was because I wanted to make sure the roots go right down. But then I realized tomato roots actually don't go that far down into the ground. They stay around the surface. So now, this year, what I'm doing is I'm not digging too far down. I think this should be enough. And yeah, so here it is. You can see it's about that much. It goes in, and this food would get eaten up within few weeks. I also put orange peels. I haven't got any today, but orange peels would go in here, apple peels, melons, and if anybody is a fan of meat, then leftover bones or whatever would go into the ground. But just make sure one thing, now we are in our back garden, so we don't get any foxes or any animals, but in our front garden, if I was to put this in, I'd have foxes digging it up, because they think they can smell the food, so they dig it up and they create a mess. So if you're doing it where animals come, then dig even further down so that they can't smell it basically. But since this is in a back garden, this is okay. So yeah, food scraps have gone in, and there's a bit of cucumber there, if you can see. Right, so soil back again. There we go, worm there. So worms are good, and the more food you put in, the more they grow, obviously, unless birds eat them, and they do. We get lots of birds. Look, can you see the seeds here? So I would have put a melon here, or the leftover melon. Why would you put a melon in? So the peels of melon, and these are the seeds left over. Can you see? These are melon seeds. I don't think melon would grow in a country like UK. It's too cold. But hey, that's evidence the melon has disappeared here. It's been eaten up. And this makes the most expensive this makes the most expensive compost. Usually you'd have compost that's made out of, I forgot to put these in. Usually you'd have compost made out of leaves and generic stuff. But this is most expensive because this is fruit and veg peels. And if you were to go into specialist nurseries, they'd charge you top rate for it, top dollar, top pound for compost that's made of this kind of stuff. But I don't put this compost in the compost bin. Some people do that, and I'm sure it's a method that works for them. I don't. Got another one left here, doesn't matter. I don't put it into the compost bin because it gets quite messy and smelly. I just put it into the ground and let nature or the worms do their trick. So it achieves the same results really. If you put it into the compost bin, it turns into compost, and you'd often sprinkle it here. But since I've put the fruit and veg direct into the ground, it gets eaten up by the worms right here, so it turns into compost right here, as it would do if it was nature. Nature doesn't have separate compost bins. So that's about it really. I've dug all over this place, so throughout here. I dug earlier this year, and I'll continue to do so as and when I get leftover food scraps. They'll go in here, and that's it. Another worm there.